Looks a little bit fleecy. Looks like it's had a bit of comfort on it.
Yeah, it has.
Right, come on, let's
bit of
get
shaking
one
back.
going. You do the shake and bake and put the freshness back. You do the shake and bake and put the freshness back. Oh, hang on, let's go. Oh, shh, shh. I've had 1 million people heard that. Oh, hang on, let's go. Come on, mate.
We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Birmingham's the team, down at St Andrews. We are all supporters of our team. The chant of Super Blues ringing all around. Now all you blue boys know what we mean. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Let's hear you in the pub, singing our song, helping and sharing the load. It's worth the fortune's roll when we sing together. We're there at the end of the road. We are the lads from
11-1-1, mate. 11 years we've had it. Monday nights, always through football season, of course. And we're joined together tonight once again with yourselves and, of course, this is all it is.
Good evening, all.
And Mr. Rose. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Brown.
Good evening.
Special guest tonight, Richard Beale.
It's been 3 weeks.
I'm starting this evening's discussion off with a very disturbing message that I had on Facebook a little bit earlier. Apparently, and this is true because it came from the person themselves, right? Apparently, Paul Higgins sprays Lynx before he goes to bed. Lynx! Oh my God! What is going on, man? You do Lynx? That's like the 1990s version of like Old Spice, what I had in the 70s.
Does everyone put deodorant on before they get in bed, or is it just me?
Well, I don't, to be honest.
Obviously,
Oh,
other
let's-
good
let's-
deodorant
let's-
is still available. No?
Let's put it out there to the people. Do you put deodorant on before you go to bed? Lynx. I mean, Lynx, Paul, of all things, man, you should not have said that tonight. No way on this earth, mate.
I like a bit of Africa.
You should have known the second I saw that I was going to rip you for it.
Paul,
Oh, dear.
sorry, Paul.
Quality.
Paul, what
Yeah.
what links is it?
Not
Lynx, is it?
Africa.
No,
Not
Africa,
Africa. No, it's actually called Lynx Attract, and it's quite a nice smell. And you know, if I spray it on before I get in bed, you never know, do you? You know.
Attract.
Yeah.
And you never know, do you?
Well,
Oh, dear. Well, we've started Series 11 off where we left Series 10, so at least it's funny. You know what?
Yeah.
We've done this now all through the COVID pandemic, and we wanted to keep in touch with everybody. And I think it was the right and the best decision that we could have made. A great end to Series 10. Wow, what an ending that was. You know what? Man, the guests we had last year, I'll tell you what, they were just phenomenal. And we have to thank our good friend, Mr. Courtney, Craig Courtney, for arranging all these guests.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he does such a marvellous job in the background. And I've never met the man. So I
I
really
reckon,
need to do that.
I reckon he wears Lynx as well.
Oh, yeah,
Richard, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Nick, go ahead.
Do you wear links?
Well, do you know what I'm wondering?
Don't you dare stutter. Don't you dare.
I'm wondering
That's a
whether
yes.
Paul puts it on his head before he gets to bed, and that's why he's bald.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
Absolute quality. Absolute quality.
No, I'm a right guard.
Oh,
man.
dear.
I'm a right guard, man. Right guard, I use. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so here we go, lovely. Series 11, we're welcoming Richard Beale into the show tonight. Thank you ever so much for giving your time up tonight for us, Richard.
No problem.
We're normally here for about an hour and a half, and we'll talk about anything and everything blues. That's it. That's all we do, right? I hear you crossed the street, didn't you? You went to the other side.
I did. I left. Yeah, when I come out of Blues, I got a phone call straight away from Aston Villa. Got to put a roof over.
Two words that we're not allowed to use on this show, and you must mention both of them.
Oh, really? Yeah. No. Yeah. Mark Harrison become the academy manager there, and I needed to get straight back into work.
How did you feel? How did you feel crossing the divide? Because there's not that many that have done it. There are a few over the years.
I promise you this. One thing I promise you, as a lifelong Birmingham City fan, nobody ever got a picture of me in my kit, and so many people were desperate to get a picture of me in that training kit. I used to come home, like when I worked at Blues, I'd stop at the shops or do everything in my kit, and in that Villa kit, I went straight home, got changed, and then went about my duties.
Gobsmacked. As a lifelong Birmingham City fan, you managed to drape yourself in the cloths of the anti-god.
It beat a cardboard box, put it that way.
I'd rather warm one, to be perfectly honest.
No, that's something I'd rather wear Lynx Africa than.
I was gonna.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sharing that
We
with you.
need more than links for that.
Yeah.
It's shaking back for that.
Oh.
You weren't there long though, was you? You wasn't there long,
About
was
9
you?
months, and then
Yeah.
and then Jimmy Shan got a job at Solihull and asked me to be the assistant there with him, and I jumped at the chance to go and do that and work at first team level. Yeah,
Yeah, brilliant.
to get out of it.
So did you play? Did you play yourself at any level,
I
mate?
did. Yeah. I played in the conference over here for a long time, and I went and played in America then at a professional level, but never anywhere top draw. I played about 400 games. And then at age 30, I was I was full time at Blues, but Alex McLeish asked me to do the under-23 team, the reserve team as it was then, and I had to make a bit of a decision really, so I stopped playing then. But
Of course, Alex made that fateful cross as well. But what was it actually like working with him though?
Brilliant.
He was good. I mean, look, Carling Cup. We got no complaints really, but we give all the banter out, and we'll always do that. It will never stop, not ever, ever. But you know what? To have that one day was a special moment.
Oh yes.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable day. Yeah. I'll never forget my missus. I was in the crowd with up in the area with the players that weren't involved in the squad and everything. And to this day, Alex always said, "Look, if we win, get yourself down the pitch, come down with the players and that." And my missus said to me, "You can't leave me in the crowd," and it's a massive regret. I've got to be honest that I never went down the pitch and never in any pictures. But there you go.
My missus just said that. Drop. Go in. I'm off. Nothing's going to stop me now, mate.
Special day, wasn't it? Special day.
A special day. You know, we've had some special days. 91, obviously, with the Leyland Daft Cup final, my first ever trip to Wembley. And you know what? It is true. It's a long, long road. Joys and sorrows. It is true, right? And we've had, this is our 11th season now on the Tilton Talk Show. And we haven't had a single joy, really, a proper one, in 11 years. It's time that the big time came back to St Andrews. It's called Birmingham City, right? The second biggest city in the country. There isn't a football team called London, right? This is like somebody has got to pick this football club up and run with it proper.
Right out.
Can't agree more. Who though?
Yeah. Can you give us an insight, Richard, into how the club was run when you was there? Obviously with the likes of Dong and Christian Speakman, and how was the day-to-day sort of goings on at working there at the time?
I was there 17 years, and do you know what? I had 16 and a half unbelievable years. The last 6 months did get a bit political and tough, but listen, I'm a very, very lucky bloke. You know, I've made a lot of lifelong friends at that football club, and I've had the ability to mix with, you know, people that are, you know, my dad and my granddad would have only ever dreamt of. Do you know what I mean? So very, very lucky. But listen, Nick made the point there. We need leadership that is going to take the club forward. I'll leave that up to other people to talk about.
You have to, because it's out of your hands, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, So yeah, I mean, when I was there, the day-to-day Dong wasn't there. I believe he is now. What impact that has, I don't know. But no, I mean, listen. As I said, I had 6.5 fantastic years. The last 6 months got a bit tough, but it was probably the right time for me to leave. But yeah, no, listen. I only want to look back on my time there with fondness. I'll always be a big fan of the club, and only want good things for Birmingham City as well.
Of course, we all did. Yeah. Nice words. Nice words, actually. Yeah.
Are you a born Blues fan, Rich? Are you a Blues fan?
Yeah, absolutely. I had season tickets for years. I've done every single job probably at the club. I was saying to the lads before I come on, not a lot of people know it, but aged 15, I went on work experience at Blues, and I was the original Blue Nose mascot. And Mike Taylor will be listening, and he's going to be laughing his head off that I've told that story in public.
What, the nose? The actual nose?
The Blue
itself?
Nose. I was on work experience, and I got asked to do it, and I did it.
No, really?
Yeah. So there's a real revelation,
brilliant.
and I'm never ever going to live that down now.
So when was that? Then early 90s.
When I was 15, so let me work my maths out here.
Yeah, he only looks about 23. So.
Early 90s, I think. There's a guy called Bob Matthews, commercial director. Absolutely.
Oh, listen.
Yeah.
Bob Matthews, you've just used 2 words there. Right. I'll tell you a little story. I won £1,000 on the half-time draw. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard this one before.
The whole story. But at the end of the season, Bob Matthews put an announcement out for me to go to the director's box, the director's entrance at the back of the main stand. And what he got for me, the big plastic cheque that they used to present you?
Yeah.
He got that. It's signed by Trevor Francis, Karen Brady, everybody. And I've got it. I'll just go and fetch it. So I'm going to go off screen. Paul, you crack on. I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to go and fetch it. And I'll tell you what a piece of memorabilia that is. What a superb man. He was an absolute gentleman and a lovely man. Bob Matthews. Love the guy to bits. Right, I'm going to go fetch it.
Now,
I remember him as well, yeah.
Yeah. We don't hear that story much, do we?
No. The check bounced.
Well, yeah. So what is it you're doing now then, Rich? What is it you do now? Sorry, I missed the first.
I'm manager at Solihull Moors. So,
of course you're at the Moors, yeah.
Yeah, we started back last week, training,
Mm.
and after a long period off, and just great. We've just moved into a new training ground, which is lovely. With Studley Football Club, if anyone knows it, they've invested a lot into that to make it a real, for our level, state-of-the-art training ground, for any level really. It's a real nice facility now that we've really got no excuses to try and kick on. And
that's a club with a bit of potential, isn't it? Really.
Look at that.
Oh yes.
What a piece of memorabilia! What a piece of history!
That's fantastic.
What an absolutely lovely gesture that was. Bob Matthews, what a man! What an absolute superstar!
Brilliant.
The old Dave and Buster's logo on there as well. Do you remember that place?
Who, Paul? Sorry.
Mitchell's and Butlers.
That, Paul.
Hey?
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's, yeah, the old Dave and Buster's. Remember in Shirley?
Have you tried cashing it in, Nick?
You know what, Chris? I couldn't part with it. I would swap my arms and legs to keep that. I'll be honest with you. Right, Mike Hill wants to know, one of the biggest disappointments that we've let so many youngsters go cheaply. Damari Gray springs to mind. What does Richard think?
Yeah, I agree. It's a real shame that we've had so many good players and not really got the transfer fees that they should have commanded. I mean, Nathan as well, Jack Butland, all real, Jack has been talked about, hasn't he? 10, 20 million pounds. Nathan, I think, will potentially go 15, 20 million pound. Damari will let go for 3.5 million. It was just, at the time, the club was desperate for that money, wasn't it? But it's so disappointing.
Damari Gray, 3.5 million. I mean, that is like, if there has ever been a piece of comedy script written, that is it. 3.5 million for a talent like that.
I know, and all the time and work invested. It's a shame, really. But hopefully, the club get, some further kick-ons for those boys if and when they do go for further transfer fees. And it was obviously great that the club ended up with the money they got for Jude, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
No, that was a proper deal. Mark, I
Sorry,
tell you
Nick.
what. I tell you what. We up to 30 million quid for Jude Bellingham, right? That was good business. As far as he's 17, for goodness sake. Is he 17? 16, 17, right? So knocking on for 30 million with the add-ons for a player of his calibre, and he was far too good for Birmingham City. Unfortunately, right? We couldn't keep him. We couldn't keep him. We wouldn't keep him. We knew we wouldn't keep him. But the business was done. It wasn't 3.5 million. It was knocking on for 30, which is where Damari Gray should have been.
Nathan, you know,
I'm just about to show everybody the actual picture of the Blue Nose. Here you go. How ridiculous is that?
Brings back memories.
I've had a mare in. I've had an absolute mare. You know, I'm never ever going to be able to live this one down, am I?
Richard, it was a bit embarrassing though, wasn't it, to have a big blue nose walking around?
Well, yeah, blame Bob. Blame Bob. I was on workers' sprint. He's my boss. He said, "Put that on." I was like, "Okay." Oh,
Are you still in touch with Bob?
no, unfortunately, Bob passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, passed away a few years back. But I was in touch with him for a long time. And I know like the likes of Julius Shelton and good people like that have worked at the club, held Bob in a real.
Mate, I tell you what, I met him so many times, and wow, what an absolute superb gentleman he was. Oh, bless him. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know that, mate. Ouch.
Yeah. So he'll be looking down and watching the fortunes of the club from up above.
Yeah.
So what are your
Bob,
thoughts on the new manager then, and what are you sort of, do you think we're in for a good season coming up? I know we need players at the moment, but Karanka. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Karanka? Karanka's appointment.
Yeah, I think it's a good appointment for the club. I just hope he's left alone to get on with the job, and if the football people there are left alone to their job, then I think good things can happen again for Blues. But
Richard, it is vital. Right, this is now. We are here. We've been through so much over the last 11 years. It is vital that this man is allowed to manage the football club. No interference, nothing whatsoever. One meeting on a Monday morning with the directors, one meeting on a Friday to say, good luck for the weekend, this, that, and the other. Win, lose, or draw, this man has to have the reins of the football club.
do you think that's going to happen, Nick?
No. No.
No. And
Kev Kelly's asking me if I've got a blue nose in my collection. I actually haven't. I haven't got a blue nose in my collection. I'm going to have to get one. Is there any seamstresses out there that can make me a blue nose, please?
I think this will make you feel old as well, Richard. Richard was my teacher at Selhill College. Great guy.
Yeah. What was his name?
Sam Mullet.
We used to. We what I did was when I was working part time at Blues. When I first got into Blues, we ran a football college football scheme at Selhill College. So the lads would come in and do their education in the morning, and we'd train them in the afternoon. So I'd be at the college 8 till 4, then head over to Wastills and take my first age group there, which was Nathan Redmond, Mick Hancock's, Callum Riley, and do that 5 till 9, and that was my apprenticeship in football. Really, it was good days, but long bloody hours. Tell you.
I was going to say, put the hours in, didn't you?
Yeah, no, and for any young coaches out there, that is what you've got to do. That was on a Monday and a Wednesday. On a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'd work and then play. So I'd go to training. I wasn't a top pro or anything, but I was playing for Stafford Rangers, Telford, Leamington. So that was Tuesday and Thursday night taken care of. Friday night was the only night I had off. Then I'd coach on the Saturday morning, then play on a Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday morning take a game with the under 11s, 12s, 14s, anywhere in the country. But it was
superb.
great.
Lee Mailing's just corrected me. He said it's 50 million with the add-ons, £26 million down payment, according to Brian Dick in the Mail online a few weeks ago. So thanks for that, Lee. That's a proper transaction, though, isn't it?
It's a proper fee, isn't it?
For Damari Gray. And Mark, I tell you what, £3.5 million for Damari Gray was an insult.
Oh, it's pathetic, wasn't it? And what it's annoying because if we'd have kept hold of just a fraction of them, just one or two,
yeah,
such a difference, it's just.
But we've always been a selling club.
But that's historically, that's Blues, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yeah. Stuart's just asked. I know we spoke about this offline as well. How's Richard's brother doing? Ian,
of course, yeah.
On a thousand at the time. I've heard that one. I'd be a rich man, I tell you.
Oh,
Yeah, I bet you would.
He's left EastEnders, I think, hasn't he?
yeah. I think he's been up. I think he's been. Hasn't he been sacked or something?
Has
Or he's been
Has he?
dropped. I think he's been dropped for a while. Yeah,
The chip
apparently.
drop, when did
Of course,
he-
I don't know anything about it. I never watch it, but apparently that's what's happened.
EastEnders, what a horrible, vile program.
It's a
that is.
true story.
Even the theme tune sounds
The
like your
theme
grandma falling down the stairs. Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a
No
true story.
relation.
Got a question for you, Richard, from Craig Courtney. He wants to know when the talent of Damari, Nathan Redmond, and Jude was spotted, and your thoughts on their sales. Obviously, you've touched upon their sales anyway, but when was their talent first
Well, all
spotted?
three of those lads are very, very naturally gifted players, and all three were, from a very, very early age, going to go on to big things, and I think, rather than anybody saying, "Oh, I work with him and I made," it's about creating the environment. From the environment was there for those three boys to flourish.
Yeah.
Coaches recognised that, and the club, did everything they could for all three of those lads to kick on and to progress. And it was fantastic, to have been there at the time with those lads and to see them develop and come right through the system. There's no better feeling. That is the job satisfaction. In the academy, you don't get paid big money. So your real job satisfaction. I remember Nathan scoring in that game. I don't know if it was Braga or Bruges. Can't remember now. It's Andrews, and he's
Nacional, yeah.
National. So yeah.
National, Europa League, yeah.
He runs over and he's celebrating with Mitch Hancock's, Fraser Kerr on the touchline, Callum Wright. Goose pimples, even to this day, to see that happening. That's your reward when you work in the academy, because again, like I said, anyone working in football is lucky, but it's certainly not for financial reasons you do it. And that is your reward and unbelievable feelings, and no one can ever take that away from you.
Sam Mullet's asking, question was Richard pushed out of Blues or was it time to leave? Now, you don't have to answer any question that you don't want to, and if there's anything that you want to leave, you're absolutely perfectly entitled to do so.
I mean,
if the fans ask us, we'll ask you. But you just have to say, well, I can't comment on that if that's as you did.
It's fine. I mean, it was time to leave.
Yeah.
So it probably worked for me, but I was certainly sort of, it wasn't all on my terms. So there was a conversation had, and the club offered to part me contract, so that was fine. So
Okay, so 16 years you was at Blues, yeah? 16 or 17? 17. For you, what was your highlight?
That Nathan Redmond goal, I was very close to Nathan and his mum. It was a culmination of 10, 12 years of work, not just for me, but for lots of people. But to be there with his mum and being close to the family was a real highlight. The Carling Cup was definitely a highlight. Millions of highlights, really, but I suppose they'd probably be the two key highlights. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, lots of questions coming in. Linda wants to know, are you happy being a normal supporter than working behind the scenes?
Do you know what? I am. As I said, I'd love to work for the club again one day. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know.
Do you know, Richard, I promise you, all I would love, right, for my museum in my house, my museum to Birmingham City Football Club, is one pay slip, even if it's only got 50 pence on it, with the head of Birmingham City Football Club on it. That would be my dream come true. I can't play football.
I'll give it to you. It might float away, but I'll give it to you. It's not like anything.
I was absolutely awful at sports and everything, so there's no way that I was ever going to be a professional footballer. But just to have one pay slip, one tiny pay slip, even if it's like, say, just 50 pence, boom, I could frame it and say, look, you know what, I worked for the Blues once.
I can sort that out, no problem at all.
Stephen
So
Gill
when
wants...
did you play, Richard? When you played yourself, whereabouts, what position did you play?
Left back.
Okay.
I was a left back, yeah.
Sorry, Richard, who's the best player you played with?
Best player I played with? It's a good question. I always remember playing with Don Goodman. I mean, he's not like the best player in the world, but Don Goodman was...
He wasn't very welcome at St Andrews, was he?
No, he wasn't actually, no. But he came to Stafford Rangers towards the end of his career, but he was immense. I mean, who else? Neil Grayson, a guy called Neil Grayson. Don't know if you ever remember Neil Grayson. Bit of a non-league, lower league journeyman, but another great pro. But I suppose I was always good friends with the Francis family, and Matthew Francis brought Trevor along once, so I've got to say Trevor. That was a special moment. Like I rang my dad come along as well, and he played with him. So
yeah.
that was
Did you? Sorry, Richard. Did you ever play with Mark Bellingham
I did.
at Stafford? I was going to
Yeah.
say you must have.
At Leamington, I was actually the player coach, and
Okay.
My
I went
hometown.
there and Mark was there, yeah, and
No.
he knew where the net was, yeah.
What's your thoughts on Jude's brother?
He's a really good player, another really, really good player, and hopefully he can go on to, become as good as Jude. That'd be fantastic for the club again, and fantastic for Joe.
He looks an absolute talent, doesn't he? You know, I've watched a few vids on YouTube and what have you. Wow, the things he can do with a football.
Yeah. I was working in the older age group, so I don't know too much about him, but the bits I did see, and the bits I hear is that he's going to be a special talent as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
If
guessing
that's the case, if that goes on for years, we're going to run out of shirt numbers.
You know what, Paul? You've just touched on a very, very, very important subject there. Richard, what's your take on retiring the number 22 shirt?
And be honest.
Be very honest, because I'll tell you what, I'm disgraced. I'm
Pressure's
embarrassed.
on. We know where you live.
Yeah, it's a great honour. I mean, it's
But it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
it's a strange one. It's a strange
It was
one.
a strange one.
Fair play for Jude. That's all.
Listen, fair play to Jude. You know what? That guy has got an absolute stunning career in front of him, as long as he can stave off injuries and one thing or another. But we're talking about our football club now retiring a shirt from a 16-year-old who made X amount of appearances and I think scored 4 goals. If there's a number shirt that should be retired at St Andrews, it should be the number 8.
Yep.
That's it.
Really, yeah.
What, John
Robbie
Gale?
Savage.
Or Lee
Robbie
Camp.
Savage.
Lee Camps.
John Gale.
Stephen Gleeson.
There's 2 there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is a coach driver. Simon Andrews says.
Oh, sorry, Chris. Craig Courtney says it's not. The shirt hasn't been retired. It's on hold till we get to the Champions League.
Simon says, who was Richard's favourite team coach driver?
It was Chris Shute. Tell Simon it's Chris Shute. It was now the kit man. He's now the assistant kit man. No, Simon was the best. Simon and Chris joint best.
So you said you did everything at Blues. Did you do the kit man?
No, I didn't. I never did the kit man.
So you lied.
Nearly everything. A number of jobs. Hey, from Mascot. I mean, Blue Nose. It's.
Mate, I tell you what, I just wish I had that accolade to my name, even just for one game, just to put that on and just say.
I've got to be honest, I was dreading it because people used to pull off the hands, pull off the feet. I was dreading the one day someone pulled off my head and I got revealed, but fortunately that never happened.
All right, a lot of people stressing over the fact that we're not signing many players. There's still 46 days to go of the window, so don't worry too much. Don't worry too much. You know, we've now got a manager. Out of everybody that was suggested, I think he was the best of the crop.
Yeah.
Right? That's me personally, Mark. Right? I think he's the best of the crop. And what we've got to do is we've got to take a step backwards now, right? Leave the social media malarkey alone and just let him manage. As long as the club let him manage, let him manage, and let's now find out where we're going, what our direction is as a football club.
Yeah.
I echo what Tom said on the last show that, if it's not the project that he's expecting it to be and the job that he's, accepted, then he ain't going to be here for long, is he? That's the problem.
No, because he'll walk. That's the way he is. He will walk.
And I don't want to say negative though, because it is a very good appointment, and let's hope that the structures are put in place that he expects, and he can take us forward and be here for a few years, because we need a manager now to be here for at least 2 to 3 years.
We had 9 in the last however long.
Yeah, it's about
Ridiculous amount.
Yeah, seems a lot more.
Yeah, and we can't keep swapping and changing, so hopefully now we get a bit of stability in the coming years, but, you've always got your reservations, haven't you? Like, you have to think, obviously.
He's making changes already there, Paul. George Friend coming in. Right, okay, that's a good player. That's a good player. That's a quality player. Yeah. We're heavily linked with this guy from West Bromwich Albion, the winger. I can't remember his name now. It's just eluded me. Leko. Yeah. You know what? As Brett Stanley's just said, the sale of Jude may have saved the club financially by holding on till he was 17 to sign a contract. It could be, although misconstrued. Sorry, thank you to him. Just being devil's advocate, we don't know everything. Of course, we don't know everything. But Stuart Jones asking if Lico is a done deal. I don't know, because I've literally came home from work and come straight onto Zoom, so I've not had any chance to catch up with anything. So if anybody knows whether Lico is a done deal or not, please let us know.
It's not a done deal. I think he's got the choice between us and Sheffield Wednesday, and he's edging towards us.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want.
Sorry, they mentioned it. They mentioned £1 million, didn't they, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody would want to live in Sheffield, surely.
No.
I
mean, what, they got a motorway and a shopping centre?
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
And they've got
And the latest goalkeeper to be linked with us is Charlton's, isn't it? Calvin Phillips, the goalkeeper.
Yes, yeah.
So,
and again, as I say, look, guys, please don't stress. There's still a long time to go, right?
Yeah. Do you know much about him?
I am a firm believer, Paul, that we do need the players in situ to have a pre-season, to have a full pre-season, so we can see what the capabilities are, see where the weaknesses are, sharpen them up, one thing and another. And, so it would be great and nice and lovely and rosy, but we're actually Birmingham City. Okay, so just remember what we are, where we are.
No, exactly, yeah. Do you know much about
is apparently having trouble playing my video. This video is having trouble on Facebook. Chris, can you have a quick look at that?
Yeah, okay.
Cheers.
Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say, Richard, do you know much about Calvin Phillips, the goalkeeper at Charlton?
I've probably seen him a couple of times. I just know he's a steady goalkeeper, but, it's interesting to listen to you guys. I think you're spot on in what you're saying. I think any manager really, and just needs time. Any manager needs time now. If
and resources.
If the club can afford him time and a bit of stability, then there's no reason that the club won't go forward. But the track record has been that no one's had the stability, no one's had the chance just to do it for themselves. So it'd be interesting to see if that happens. Hopefully, this time it does, and the club can move forward, because that's what we all want, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd like to think that they've learned from previous mistakes, but we'll see. What's obviously only time will tell.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the closest thing we ever heard from Dong, wasn't it? It's almost like a veiled apology the other day at the press conference. But was he being sincere? When he said, "Oh, we've learnt from 2017 and all the rest of it." Was he being genuine, or was it just sound bites for the fans? I don't know.
Sound bites. You know what?
Time will tell, Mark.
If anybody wants to give you sound bites, tell them to stick them where the sun don't shine. I ain't interested. All I want is facts, right? And which is why we don't, and I don't think we ever, Chris, have we, speculated on whether somebody's going to come in, apart from when Mr. Fung got caught.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a classic moment in the Tilton talk, in the life of Tilton talk. It's like, we try not to speculate. Yeah, of course we'll have the discussion of maybe this, that, and the other. Like, we don't want to be the group or the group of people that say, "Oh, X, Y, Z is coming in and it doesn't happen," or so many. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. We've kind of steered away from that, haven't we? Completely. All those, apart from the
because we're not very good.
One, which was again, it was simply a classic moment. It was brilliant.
It was, we were done.
Brilliant moment. Yeah. Oh, Craig Courtney is saying that he also wears links. Oh. Sent me a picture of it.
No, I can believe that. Yeah, I can believe that.
Why send me a picture of your links, Craig?
He sent it to me as well. Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Oh dear.
But yeah,
what we do? Should we do the questions from the fans now?
Go on, then, Paul. Go on, Paul.
So what we do, Richard, we ask our fans. We just put it out there on our page for fans to ask any questions to our special guests. So just a few questions here. So Cole Sparrow's asking, who or what inspired you to get into football from Ryan, aged 8?
Oh, brilliant. My dad. My dad was always a Blues fan, so we'd go to every single game, home and away, for years, and I just caught the bug. We all know any Blues game is special when the fans are, but the away games, there's just something extra special, isn't it? I used to love them, and the atmosphere and the camaraderie and the humour was just something else. And I had that bug from from day one. And obviously, then you want to recreate what we've all probably been there, what you're seeing. And so I got into playing, and yeah, just loved it every minute. So definitely, it was my dad taking me to games from a young age, and sometimes we couldn't get to an away game for whatever reason. He'd take me to Warsaw or anywhere, so we had a real love of football. We're only ever Blues fans, but he'd take me to any game if Blues were too far away. But I think the Blues away games was special. I remember being at.
They still are, to be honest with you.
Yeah, can't beat ways. Yeah.
You can't beat away games. And can you remember what your first game was? Your first Blues game?
I can't remember my first Blues game. No.
No.
I was 4 and 5 years old.
Okay.
So, but I tell you the one that sticks in the mind. We went down at Tranmere away. Do you remember? And all the fans were on the pitch, standing on the dugout.
Yeah.
I don't know why that one was just. I was thinking we've gone down, and the fans are singing "Bring Out the Champions." It was just unbelievable.
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah. Special time. I mean, and
we've got the craziest sense of humour in the world. You
Absolutely.
know what? Even Oxford away, right? One of our fans was climbing up the floodlight tower, right? And as we're all singing, "The Blues are going up, the Blues are going up," and he fell off and broke his leg.
Who was your favourite player? Who was your favourite player as a kid?
My favourite player was Jose Dominguez. I loved him.
Oh yeah, quality.
Yeah, good old Jose. Yeah.
I always remember it was Barry Fry. It was during the time I went and worked. So as well as being the Blue Nose and work experience, I was very fortunate. I used to go down the team coach every day to Dunstable. They used to train. They trained at Dunstable for a week or two for 1 or 2 seasons, and Jose was there, and just watching him close up. And I mean, it was crazy. Like, they trained at Dunstable Leisure Centre, and I remember being in Barry Fry's car and running through Dunstable Town Centre. The lads are running from the training centre to the hills. Him and Edwin Steen and David Howell got a megaphone out the car, effing and blinding, run! And it was the funniest thing. I'm thinking, what are these people thinking? Like, it was crazy.
I'd love to have seen that.
The old grannies are running away from the car, and it was just funny.
Only Blues, eh?
Only Blues.
Only Birmingham City could do stuff like that. I promise you.
And I remember, I think you wore number 40 or number 50 in the days when there was no squad numbers. Who had that many players.
Yeah.
What a talent!
Had more players than fans.
I know. I think you got up to Roman numerals, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main stand was full of players that weren't in the squad, weren't it?
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
It's the Ray Hobro main stand, please.
In the Ray Hobro, yeah.
Ray Hobro main stand.
Paul, just before you go back to the main questions, there's one that's come up, and I thought, this is a good one to slip in. Brett says, Richard, have you or did you have a backup career just in case things didn't work out?
Mascot.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a nose for the rest of my life.
I think some people think I probably just stayed doing that, but no, a backup career. No, I've only ever wanted to do football. So if I wasn't coaching, something in football, what I don't know. Obviously, I did have the time at the college where they asked me to run the football scheme, and then the only reason I sort of started going in the classroom a little bit was because myself and another guy were the only 2 people that could control the kids we had. They were mad, so the teachers couldn't control them. So they said, "Look, we come and do some teaching. It's 20 quid an hour." So I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't got a teaching qualification."
Yeah.
We used to just play hangman and flip in, pick the world 11 teams, really. But maybe teaching would have been a different profession. But no, football all the way, really.
Yeah.
Football all the way.
Paul?
Yeah.
Paul,
Yeah, Siobhan Kenny's asking, you had a massive input on young players like Nathan Redmond and Damari Gray. Your time at Blues, how did you help them in training and set their sights on furthering their careers?
That's a great question. The deal with Nathan first. Nathan and Damari were both always, for me, nailed on to be footballers. So, number one, I mentioned before, create an environment for them boys to flourish. So, put sessions that were for everybody, but really we're focusing on working on their strengths and weaknesses, but also emotionally. Nathan was from a single parent family, and his mum won't mind me saying he was very, very emotional. I remember him crying 4 times in an under 11 game. He cried when he scored. He cried when a ref told him off. He cried when the opposition scored, and he cried when I brought him off because he was too emotional. So, working on that aspect was probably the biggest thing for Nathan, just making him sort of emotionally controlled and being able to manage his emotions. I think really.
No, emotion's good though, isn't it?
Very good as long as under
Right,
control.
Richard, I'll tell you something.
Yep.
Normally, only this last season I've been meeting the Excessive Blues disabled group in the back of the Ray Hobro main stand. Normally, I'll go in where the club shop is on the corner, right? And that's where my dad used to take me when I was a kid, yeah? And I promise you, I'll show me ticket, get it scanned, go in, walk up the steps, go to that opening, look down and cry. You know, that's my history. That was my family. That was my dad. Right? That was this was my children, my grandchildren. Yeah. It's gone through like 1, 2, 3, 4 generations now. Yeah. And when I take my granddaughter to the Blues and sit there with my son and I look and there's 3 generations of us sat there, you know what? The emotion absolutely wells up in me. And it's like that for me is an achievement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But when you're on the pitch, you've got to have it under control. I mean, I can think of a lad, you'll all know him, that unfortunately probably had more talent than any player I've ever worked with, and he's still playing now. And I bought him back to the club in the Gary Rowett era. Was Jack Storer.
Listen, do you know what? We missed a
He
trick
couldn't
with
control
him.
himself. He couldn't control himself, you know.
We missed a trick with him. And his lack of control of that Wolves game, probably, could I possibly even think that it cost us...
Probably ended his career in
Well, he
grand
walked off,
scheme.
didn't he? He walked off.
It probably cost us.
Off.
It cost us our place in the Premier League.
And the fans are singing his name. And he boots the hoardings, broke his foot.
We just love a Birmingham City fan playing for Birmingham City.
Absolutely, and he'd done so well in pre-season, and you know he got kicked out of Stevenage, and I heard that he was available, so I got him in for training. And after 2 training sessions, I said to Gary Wright, I said, Gary, you've got to have a look at him. Gary took him. He's like, wow, who is this kid? You know, and he still has got Premier League ability, and I really hope that he could, gain control of himself. He's trying now. I think he's on trial.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, the shame is, right, and I talk to my eldest son quite often about the Blues and what have you, and I mentioned Jack Storer, and he'll say to me, Dad, don't mention his name. He let us and himself down. And he did. That's the fact. That's the absolute fact of it. But like you say, he's still got that potential. Rise up, sunshine, and use it.
Where is he? Where is he now, Richard?
I was going to say, where is he?
He's on trial at Telford. I'm not sure if they've
Because he
signed him
did go up, didn't he go up north, up to Scotland?
He scored in the Scottish Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, Jack was with
Was it
Hamilton, Scotland.
Hamilton,
Yeah, that's it.
He's been down to an academy near Land's End.
Hamilton Academicals, was it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine sitting in the crowd going, give me an H?
I saw that.
I was at,
You were there
I
for
went,
40
I went
minutes,
to
weren't you?
I went to Kidderminster in the friendly a few years back, and he scored a hat-trick.
Unbelievable ability, Jack. And I still speak to him. He's a great lad, so I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him. But let's just hope he can, find a
You
home.
could clearly, I know it was against the lower opposition, obviously, but you could clearly see there the abilities. Finishing in that game was just superb.
I think in the pre-season he had in the first team, he was the highest scorer in the whole country. For anybody in pre-season. If it was just football alone, he'd be playing in the Premier League now. I'm sure of it.
Richard, he had a home. It was St Andrews.
Yep.
And he was starting to be revered, right? Unfortunately, and I know things happen. Look, it can happen to anybody, right? I just wished we could have nurtured him a little bit better, right? And got his stupid temper under control.
Yeah.
Because he was raw talent.
We did everything for him. The club paid a lot of money for. I've never known him do it for any other player. Specialists to come and assess him,
right?
For medication, all sorts of things, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen for Jack at Birmingham for one reason or another. But everything was put in place for Jack, and you know what? The good thing, Jack knows that as well, and he's very grateful for what was done for him. And I think if he can settle down and come back, which potentially he could with his ability, then. I think it know the part that Birmingham played in that for him. And I think
simple message, Jack Storer, sort yourself out, get your ass back to Birmingham City, and show us what you can do.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see that as well.
Yeah, Ravel Morrison, another what could have been. Yeah, what could have been.
Yeah, we've had a few through the years, haven't we?
Great story about Rav. He was playing on the Saturday, it was a dark winter's Friday. We trained, and I was leaving the training ground that day with Lee Clark about 6 o'clock. Training finished at 11:30 on a Friday. It finishes early. Lads don't do too much. Big game on a Saturday. I can't remember who it was against. We're leaving the training. It's pitch black about 4:30, and Rav and about 8 lads come walking back through the gates, soaking wet, drenched, mud all over them. Lee Clark goes, "Stop here! What's he doing?" He's walking into the first team changing room, all these lads. Wind the window down. "Rav, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I've been playing with mates on the top pitch." "What's it, 11:30?" He goes, "Well, I had a bit of lunch." And that was Rav. You know, he loved football, but he didn't realise he's playing the championship the next day. And he still played the next day and played unbelievable. But Lee Clark was tearing his hair out of him. It was a funny time.
Yeah. I'll never forget that Crystal Palace game. Was it 4-0 at Crystal Palace?
4-0, yeah.
He was unplayable that day. Him and Nathan Redmond absolutely ripped him to bits, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, dear me.
First game
Linda, Ensor. Nick gets emotional when it's his round in bar 8.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, but
Linda, I cannot absolutely wait to see you, Steve Portman, and all those beautiful people again. Jeremy, Brenda, Colin, Lindsay. You know what? I have missed you all so genuinely much. I really have. I promise you that. Can't wait. I can't wait for the day when we get back to some kind of normality.
yeah, and he might get his hand in his pocket.
And of course, Ray and Christina and Clarice and all the others that gather there in bar 8. It's just such a brilliant time to have, and such lovely and wonderful people to be with. Daniel Ricketts. There's so many.
Yeah. Siobhan says, "Thank you for your time at Blues and helping our youngsters out," said Siobhan.
Very kind. Thank you.
Who was the biggest influence, Richard, would you say, on your career as a coach?
A large blue nose, I would have said.
I was going to say, the mascot.
Obviously, you're always grateful to Alex for giving me the opportunity. Really. I might not have ever got the opportunity to do what I've done at Blues and further on in the career if it wasn't for Alex giving the opportunity. But I learnt a heck of a lot of Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton was brilliant to me, and I still speak to Chris. And Chris brought in a guy called Ewan Chester, who was very, very good to me, and would be a mentor as well as Chris. Like I said, very, very lucky, to meet and come across a lot of people. But yeah, Chris was one. Chris and Ewan probably were the biggest ones.
Well, he was my personal first choice to come back and be the manager this season before we got Karanka. So for whatever reason,
sorry, go on. Come back at the moment, like
it was never. That was never going to happen, was it? Really?
No.
So Richard, with Solihull Moors now, then.
Yes.
And what's your position there?
Assistant manager.
Oh.
I'm not the mascot.
You sound disappointed, Nick.
No, gutted, Nick. Nick's gutted.
I might be in 6 months.
Make some smashing improvements to the ground there at Solihull Moors.
Yeah.
Lovely place to go to. Of course, Blues ladies play there on the Sundays as well. Blues women. Is it Blues women now?
Yeah.
Or ladies? Blues women.
Blues women.
Cracking ground. Have they done the car park up now, or is it still like the moon?
It was bad for a while, but the first thing that Darryl Eales, the new owner, did when he came in was, I think he spent about 100 grand on that car park, and he's made it.
Wow.
So it's a proper car park now, and it used to be crazy.
Listen, that is like the car park used to be in the 80s when the old cop was up. You couldn't get your car through it.
No, it's lovely now though. It's the club does everything properly, and we're really fortunate to be at a club with good British owners that do things in the right way, and they've got very, very big ambitions, as of myself.
And that's all we ask for, And for 11 years, that's like almost a sixth of my life has gone past with your owner being thrown into prison and relegation and nothing and nothing and nothing and then nothing else, and
Well, Darryl, the owner of Solihull, is a big Birmingham fan, and I think he tried to buy the club a few years back, but it was for one reason or another didn't happen. And another guy who is the vice chairman, Tim.
Was he a hairdresser?
No, he wasn't. No. It's
What a shame! What a shame! He'd pass the fit and proper persons test, wouldn't he?
Definitely. Yeah.
I know you can't comment. We don't care.
Can I just ask?
Apart from being,
Sorry,
go on.
oh, sorry for. I was going to say, Richard, what was it like playing in the Scottish Challenge Cup last year?
I wasn't there then.
No, you weren't there then.
I wasn't
That's
there.
all right.
Yeah, that was the previous management team. So yeah, I think it was a decent experience for them. I remember, they think they played Rangers, didn't I? think they played Rangers in 23s, and
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
sometimes they're good games just to get away from the league, aren't they? But I don't think we'll be in it this year.
Steve Portman said he's going to get the first round in when we can return. You've got to arrive before midday, though. I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, Steve. Don't you worry about it.
Danny says, Richard, great signing, Stephen Gleeson. I must admit, I heard that today and I thought,
Yeah,
that's
a
a
cracking signing.
What is he, 32?
31.
31? Oh, right, okay. That's a cracking signing.
It's a brilliant signing, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're getting a bit of a Blues Old Boys thing going on there. We've obviously we signed Adam Rooney as well. Mitch Hancock's is there. Darren Carter.
Oh, Mitch, yeah.
Myself. Yeah. So good people. We want good people. Get good people on the bus, and it gives you half a chance. And that's a big part of our recruitment policy. First and foremost, get good people there. Obviously, they've got to be able to play, and we think Stephen Gleeson, for the way we want to play, will really help us. I know, I think with a lot of Blues fans, it was some people loved him, some people didn't like him so much. But
Darren Carter, what a nice guy! What an absolutely gentleman, lovely guy. You know what? He came into the studio, Richard,
legend.
And I had the opportunity to sit next to the foot that put us back in the Premier League. Wow.
Great guy, and a good player, really good player. Wasn't he?
Yeah,
really good player. And I was talking to him the other day, and some of the players he's played with and played against got a lot to offer. And I really think Darren will go on to become a really good coach or manager, whatever he wants to do. And he's just starting that process with us now at Solihull, and it's an honour really to have him alongside us and helping us out. And
it was an honour to have him in the studio. I'll be honest with you, it really was.
Real gent of a guy. And
he was. He did a Zoom with us a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
Did it? Brilliant.
Is he still affiliated?
Yeah, he was on a
with,
few weeks ago. Yeah.
Is he still with Solihull Moors, but in any capacity?
He's sort of transitioning from playing to coaching.
Right. Okay.
He's got like an ambassadorial role with the club as well. He goes into the community and helps the club that way. But he's honestly a really good coach, and we've also registered him as a player because he's kept himself so fit. And if needed, he said he'll put his boots back on. And he keeps himself fit as a fiddle. So it's going to be a long season. It crammed into a short space of time. So we may need to call upon Darren, and we know he won't let us down.
So you mentioned there, Richard, the players that Darren Carter's played against, and you've said the best players you played with. But who's the best players you played against?
You put me on the spot, really. Let me have a.
So as a left back, obviously, who was the toughest right winger you faced?
Quick. I was so slow. I remember the ball going in the crowd once at the away game. In non-league, you can hear pretty much everything everyone shouts, and the lads came me for it. They're all howling around on the floor. The ball's gone in the crowd, and some bloke has shouted at the top of his voice, "Number 3, you are the slowest player I've ever seen in my life." And everyone I've played with on that day has never let me live that down. I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone you'd really have. No
one towards the end of their careers that you've come up against in the lower leagues that.
There would have been. I have to come back to you on that one. It's been a long time ago, but let me come back to you on that one.
Yeah. Somebody's asked.
Right, no worries.
Somebody's asked, couldn't we get Zigic up at the Moors? He's still local as well,
You know
isn't
what?
he?
I still speak to Ziggy. Still speak to him.
Oh, right, okay, because he's still in Solihull, isn't he, I think?
No.
You still speak to him, Richard?
I speak to Ziggy every now and then. He's the assistant manager with Serbia, I think.
Oh, has he got... Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's part of the coaching setup.
Right, here we go. Chris Brown. Ready?
Yeah.
Craig Courtney, your challenge for Series 11 is to get us Nikola Zigic on the show. On the show.
That'd be brilliant.
Craig Courtney also says he'll feel another Tilton Talk bus coming to be arranged for the Moors, because when lockdown is lifted completely, we're all off down to Bath City to see
Jerry Gill.
Yeah, Terry Gill.
So we're going to get a bus and we're going to go down there. So what we'll do is we'll also arrange a Tilton Talk bus for a day at the Moors as well.
I literally can. It's the 37, just outside my door.
Well, now you've had the car park done.
Exactly.
So, Richard, apart from being the mascot, then, what would you say is the funniest moment of your career? Can you give us any funny stories or good pranks that have gone on like at the Blues over the years?
That you're allowed to say.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of them that involve kitmen and things like that. I can think of one where we had a new kitman, and I don't think it went down very well in China or Hong Kong, but because it got so many views on social media. But
Yeah.
I'll name one person that was involved. It was when Rav come back on trial and he put the kitman in the kit box, and literally, imagine a kit tin, and took him. Someone else involved, but he's still at the club, so I won't mention him. I don't want to embarrass him or get him in trouble. But literally, they paid the kid 50 quid and booted him down the steps, and that was a funny one that stuck in my mind. Yeah, it went viral. It went viral because it was Rav. He put it out there, and the powers that be weren't happy at all, to be honest. But lots of funny things, lots of funny moments. Trying to think of the best ones to tell a story of. I tell you what's a good one, and again, I hope you don't mind me saying it, but literally watching Harry Redknapp during the transfer window. My office was next door, and exactly how you'd imagine Harry Redknapp to be during a transfer window. Harry had a phone here, a phone there, talking, arranging, and I'm just staring at him in awe in the office, just thinking, wow, But I mean, that was it was a pleasure to see the man in action, really working like that.
Do you think we should have kept him for longer, Richard?
I do. After giving him all that money to spend, and
I mean, we bought Alex Song.
Yeah.
You know what? I felt a bit sorry for Harry because at the time, a lot of the players that came in weren't his first choice, and these are things that often, if there is a bit of interference, that managers, are cast with, he signed him, but sometimes they don't. They might give a list of 5 or 6 people, and their number 6 is brought in, and which doesn't give them the best of help, really.
I'm going to give a little bit of advice here to Birmingham City Football Club. Ready? We have potentially an absolute quality manager. Do not interfere. End of.
Let's put the
I think George Friend's a good sign, isn't it? Because he's worked with him before at Middlesbrough, so he's about to say in that.
Borough fans raving about him, aren't they?
Yeah.
But that's a good first signing, and it's a good sign because he's worked with Karanka before.
Yeah. Really good signing.
So
I mean, to be honest, on some of the social media and stuff, people are saying, "Oh, we're not spending money. We've got a freebie as the first signing." But
Mark, it drives me mad. Which is,
stupid.
you know what? I've actually over the last couple of 3-4 weeks, I've actually kept off social media quite a bit, right? And part of it is this closed season mentality with our fans. Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
That's it,
right? And we've now, after 11 years of heartbreak, got an opportunity to move forward. Let them move forward. Let them do it. Let them do it. Let the people that get paid to do it, do it.
We need experience, don't we? We need experience.
Experience, plus the fact you've got the this thing about, we haven't got a goalkeeper all of a sudden. There's probably wheels in motion. We're not going to start the season with no one, are we?
No.
Is it good?
We are not going to start the season without a goalkeeper. Paul, we are not going to start the season without a goalkeeper, are we?
No.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Crank's experienced enough to know we need a goalkeeper.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's looking at the same thing. I think we got somebody missing.
The lad G-Cott's a good build, isn't he? Do you know much about him, Richard?
Yeah, I was there with Zach. Zach played a number of times in the under-23 team as a young lad. He's a really good goalie, lots of potential. So again, Birmingham have always had good goalkeepers, haven't we?
Oh God,
always. Richard, serious question: do you think we should have kept Lee Camp for another year? Even just as a backup.
He's a good guy. I think he's a really good guy in the changing room. And I mean, I don't know what the ins and outs were of why he left or whatever, but I think it'd have been if the club deemed him not to be good enough as number one, maybe a good influence coming for a number 2 goalkeeper coming in. But unless you're in the club and the reasons why people are coming in or letting go, it's very, very hard to say
that guy could let a howler in, right, and then he could stop a world-beating shot.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
certainly got a lot to offer, hasn't he? You know,
Yeah.
he has a lot of experience, Lee Camp, and
I've got a lot of respect for him. I'll be honest with you. I really do, and I mean that.
I like Lee Camp. He's a good
Yeah.
lad.
And a fair few
In the middle of our goal, he come.
a fair few important penalties were saved by Lee as well.
Well, look how massive that save was against
Absolutely,
Charlton
Paul.
before Djukovic
Oh, yeah.
equalised.
And in the FA,
That was point blank. That was point blank. That was point blank. If that goes in, it's game over, and we're
Yeah.
relegated.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
and the
I know
FA Cup
football
was
is
a
what
lot-
it is, and we all have to move on and one thing and another. But you know, sometimes you just got to that step backwards and think about what you have actually got around you. And how, all right, Lee was knocking on in football years, but how can you develop? How can you retrain? How can you stop those? And it was predominantly bloody right down in the far corner, right? The shots that he'd not catch hold of. You know, do you really work him, or do you say, well, okay, it's time to go, and then we'll get somebody else? Don't know.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
I'm sure with any player that's been let go, hopefully, I mean, you'd expect that, you know, the new manager would have been consulted on that, and you know, he might have worked with him before, he might have a view on him, or you know, I'm sure he's got a couple of targets that he'd want to bring in himself. So those decisions would be made based on, you know, the new manager. You'd have thought.
Yeah.
Paul, I think we need to
Richard,
move
being at
on
Blues
to
and
the.
hearing Keep Right On sung, feeling the passion. How much does it give you butterflies from Siobhan?
Keep right on song.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is. I don't know another club. I mean, Stoke have got Delilah, haven't they? But I don't.
Oh, Delilah.
Oh.
Come on. That's
No,
not a
hang on.
song.
No, I'm saying, there's not many clubs with a song like that. There's not
Yeah,
many
yeah.
clubs, and you know for a fact that when the Blues fans are in full song and singing it, you know, 10 to the dozen,
Nothing like it in the world.
No.
it outsings everybody, and the opposition fans are hating it, and that, and the players can associate with it, you know, and even the words sum up Birmingham City, don't they? The words.
Don't they just?
perfectly.
As you go through life, it's a long, long road. There'll be joys and sorrows too. Beautiful.
You can live your life by it, can't you? Really, you live your life by it.
Yeah.
I do.
Do you know what, Richard? Quite often I'm working, you know, not building, but like woodworking, doing this, that, and the other, and predominantly I sing it all day long. I sing it constantly. I'm constantly singing that song.
Brilliant. It's a classic. It's a fantastic anthem, and was it Alex Govan?
It was, yeah.
Alex Govan bought it to the Blues, yeah, but obviously it was originally done by Harry
Harry
Lauder.
Lauder.
Harry Lord, yeah.
Harry Lauder, yeah.
First
And
one.
he done it on the coast, didn't he, on the way to the cup final?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did, yeah.
19, was it 56 or 60? I can't remember.
56.
56.
56, yeah, 56.
Yeah.
Got off
So
the
for
boat.
almost like 80 years, that has been our song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Lauder.
Good question here,
Harry Lauder
Richard.
was the best paid singer in the world at that time.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
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 Craig Courtney's asking Richard, was you in Bruges in 2011? Where's that question gone? Sorry, I've lost it.
It says, if so, how did it feel having 8,000 plus Blues fans backing them?
Do you know what? I wasn't in Bruges. I was in Bruges the week before because I did the scouting reports on Bruges.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
I drove over there in my car, went to their game beforehand, and did the report. Absolutely gutted that I had to work, I had to coach, and
God.
you know, so I couldn't get out there. But you know, I've seen the pictures, and I obviously watched the game on TV, and the way we won that game would have been unbelievable to have been there. But no, I unfortunately missed out. I went to Leyland Daft Cup final. You know what? I didn't mention. It's just come to mind. You're talking about the best moments. Probably, even though it was only we stayed up, but Bolton away. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Being on the bench, I was first team coach at that time. That was a special day. You know.
It was if we'd won a cup that day. Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Right, do you know what, right, guys, listen, you know what, I felt a little bit sorry for Lee Clark, right? I think he was downtrodden. I think he was... But you know what, when that final whistle went at Bolton and he ran towards the Birmingham City supporters and he went, it was for you, it was for you, it was for you, and then jumped into the crowd. Wow, that's passion.
when you
I think
I was the reserve manager when Lee first came in, and I knew, he had a meeting with us, and he said to all the staff, "Look, if any of you want to chat, come and see me if you're worried about anything." And I knew he wanted to bring Steve Watson to club. Steve Watson's his best mate, and he bought Derek Fazackley, Terry McDermott. So I'm thinking, I'm out here. I went in, and Lee said, "Look, I want to bring Steve Watson in, but if you're good enough for the job, I'll give you a." And from the minute I met Lee, and I still speak to Lee as well, he was as honest and as straight a guy as you could ever meet. And I know he could only pay players a certain amount of money, and he did his job. He kept the club up.
Challenge for you, Richard. Series 11. You're our first guest. Get Lee Clark on our show.
Lee Clark would come on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, do it for us.
And
Have a word with him.
I'll
get him to get in touch with Craig Courtney. Craig Courtney's
Lee
their
Clark and
diary.
Ziggy, so that'd be good.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not
Sam
together.
I feel the same
Not
about Lee
together.
Clark.
Not together.
No.
Oh dear, that's another story. That's, they didn't really.
Would you do that for us, Richard?
100%. 100%.
Have a word with Lee Clark.
Text
Look.
it now.
What
Text
we're
it now.
doing tonight here with you is how we are every single week. We've got no hidden agendas. There's nothing that underhanded that we want to go on for, whatever. Right? We just like to have a chat with people who have or are connected to Birmingham City Football Club.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Question for me: how many additions do you think we need before the end of the window, and what areas would you like to strengthen? Do you know what? I'm going to leave that to Mr. Cranker. Now to do with me.
Yeah.
Now to do with me. I'm not a football manager. Don't ask me to be, because
Definitely a goalkeeper.
Nick's ball
So Lee,
in the middle of
Lee
a goal.
Clark and, sorry, Nick. Lee Clark and Ziggy didn't say eye to eye then.
No,
Oh dear.
they did have a fallout. Yeah, they had a fallout, and for 6. Well, no, it wasn't that long, but probably 3 or 4 months when Ziggy went in the team, he was training with me, and I, in the end, I sort of helped them get back together again. But and obviously it all culminated fantastically that he ended up Ziggy getting us back into the
He's header of Bolton. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Ziggy. I tell you, do you remember the press conference Lee did? There was a training session, and Ziggy. I love Ziggy, but he could be a bit of a moody one at times. But I always got on great.
I think his Christmas song was brilliant.
Christmas song, yeah. He had a training session, and he was in the starting 11 for the game, and he just didn't try a leg. He just he was in a mood, and he was walking around, and Lee was getting frustrated. He goes, right, that's it. He goes, right, stop. He goes, changed a couple of players around and put Ziggy on the reserve team. In the 11v11. All of a sudden, Ziggy's the best player in the world. He's running around everywhere. He's heading everything. And Lee was raging at that, like, come off the pitch, and went into his press conference. If you remember, he said, like, that's the worst training session I've ever seen from a professional footballer. And at that point, Ziggy obviously took big umbrage with Lee putting that in public. And yes, so Lee said, right, go to reserves. And so he trained with me for 3 or 4 months. And eventually it forward. And, we've fortunately got Ziggy back in the team. Lee sort of took the plunge, put it back in, and I think he probably one of his best spells at Blues during that time.
One player we haven't mentioned is Wes Harding. Obviously, he's moved on to Rotherham, and obviously, I wish him all the best. I feel for him a bit because when he was in his natural position at right back, I thought he was really good for us.
Yeah,
Pete Taylor just made a comment. He says, for Wes Harding's benefit, I'm glad he's moved on.
Bit of a surprise, that one.
Yeah, you talk about Nathan and Damari and players like that are sort of naturally talented. Wes and Josh Cogley, whatever you think of them, they've gone on to play in the first team. Both of them two were in the reserves for 2.5 years. Now, if you're in the reserves for 2.5 years, it usually means you're not good enough. But what both of them two boys have done is maximised their ability.
And stepped up.
Every single day, worked at their game. And, they're both going to have a career in the game. Whatever anyone thinks of them as Blues players. And, Wes was captain of reserves for 2.5 years, finally got his chance and took it. And remember how he played in that last game agained Fulham when we were excellent,
He marked Sessignon out of the game.
Sessignon out of the game. And that's the level Wes can get to. He really can, and like you guys, wish him all the best because he's done nothing but serve the club with immense integrity and pride. And Josh Cogley...
He's pulled the shirt on and he's pulled the badge on. Listen, Wes Harding, good luck.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do. Do whatever you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to him.
So should we get on to your 1 to 11, mate?
Yeah, no problem.
So is this from the players that you've coached for us?
So it's made up of some of them I've coached, some of them I've took sessions with, but not necessarily been their coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's from all the years then, from the players that you've seen in the years you was at the club.
Yeah, it's a tough task, isn't it? You know, someone.
Yeah.
People, you know, to be honest, I've got Mike Taylor in there. Mike Taylor, he's the most capped player, most capped international player we've got. He is a mate of mine, so I've got to put him in there. You know, Mike, a top professional. He's
Oh, what a keeper he was! He was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, top player.
yeah, he's a top player. But loving the fact that I've exposed myself as the Blue Nose tonight. But yeah, what a guy, what a player, and he's my number one.
Yeah. What are you playing? 4-4-2 or?
Yeah, it's the most attacking 4-4-2 ever. This team, by the way. Stephen Carr, right back. He's obviously gone
Without
down
a doubt.
legendary status with all the Blues fans. But what people don't see, you probably guess it, but a top pro. He stood for no crap. Like he managed that changing room for Alex along with Barry Ferguson in a fashion that it was the first time I'd seen it. Really, just made sure everyone was pulling their weight, made sure everyone was doing the right things, but led by example. Still to this day would be fit as a fiddle.
And will always be revered, always at Blues, always.
Probably for his
a legend, a complete legend.
Yeah.
I put Christian Pedersen at right back because you know I think he's going to go on to play in the Premier League and very, very good player. I mean, Mitch Hancock's will kill me. He'll want to be in the number 3. A lot of time for Mitch, great lad and a Blues legend as well. But put that ball in for Ziggy's goal.
Ziggy, yeah.
But Christian Pearce was a better player than Mitch. Sorry, Mitch. And so for that reason, he's got the number 3 left back.
Sorry to interrupt. I've said there, I wouldn't be surprised when Chilwell goes to Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised if Leicester come calling for Pedersen, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he'll go to Premier League. I think he will. Whether that's this season or next. Yeah. Hopefully it's next season.
I obviously hope I'm wrong.
Absolutely. I've got Curtis Davis and Scott Dan. It's 2
superb.
Yeah.
Good partnership that is.
Yeah.
Two top pros, 2 great guys. I think they'll complement each other quite well. Scott is probably a little bit better on the ball than Curtis, but there's no one better at 1-1 defending as Curtis, and another one that leads by example.
Yeah.
And then I've got Barry Ferguson in there. Barry Ferguson and Jude in the middle of midfield.
Wow. Yeah.
Barry, the consummate pro as well.
Great player.
Played hard and partied hard as well, but was always he was probably the last one I've ever seen to run around in training with a black bag under his top to sweat out probably what he'd done at the weekend. But I know he liked to drink, but whenever he performed for Blues, he was top drawer. When he was real deal, and again marshalled that change room. You know, a tough change room really for Alex really, really well. But used the ball unbelievably well. Would take it in any position and move it on well. And Jude, you know, obviously we've talked a lot about Jude and Jude's ability and impact speaks for itself. In the wide areas, Nathan Damari, I think you've probably gleaned what I think of them pair from already. 2 lads that were, you know, a pleasure to work with and have gone on to play, you know, for a number of years in the Premier League and will continue to do that. And then I've got Kevin Phillips and Ziggy up top. I love Ziggy.
Oh, dear me. What would we get for that now?
And Kevin Phillips, a good story about Kevin Phillips. He won't remember the session at all, but I think he was coming back from injury and would have. The Saturday morning session for the experienced pros that aren't playing on the Saturday for whatever reason, it's like the graveyard shift for them. You know, none of them really want to be trained on a Saturday morning because it's game day. But for the reserve team, it's one of your most important sessions of the week. So you either play on a Sunday or a Monday. So this one session, Kevin Phillips was training with. And he's, you know, what is he, the 3rd high scorer in the Premier League? And I was a bit nervous myself. I'm like, bloody hell, I've got Kev training. What do you do for Kevin? So I did the whole session around finishing, loads of finishing drills. And I think, you know, like I said, he probably won't remember the session, but he got clapped off the session. His finishing was unbelievable.
Yeah. Him and Mikael Forsell are the best 2 finishers I've ever seen in my time.
Without a doubt.
At the Blues, yeah.
And Ziggy for just being a legend and for being the type of guy he was, I think he's got to be in there as well. And I love Ziggy.
We'd win the league with that, wouldn't we now?
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, we'd score a lot of goals. We might concede a few. we'd be bombing on for fun. But yeah, what a team that.
Hang on. You just said we might concede a few. Why did you pick them defenders if we're going to concede?
They've been defending 6v4. It'd just be the four of them. That's what I mean. As good as they are, they can't defend overloaded.
You got to give a manager time.
Richard, what's your views on VAR?
VAR. When it first came about, I thought it was a big step forward. But I think the way it's been interpreted, the way, like you look at the goal Sheffield United scored against Villa.
Well, I mean, that's a game changer. That is relegation, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How did they not get involved with that? How did they not?
How have the police not got involved in it? It was a crime.
Yeah, so if it's being used, we've got to use it properly. But if I'm honest, I think if it was up to me, I'd have goal line technology and nothing else.
Yeah.
Get back to what we had before. Have goal line technology
And let the referee decide what he decides.
And I think the good ones and bad ones level themselves off over the season. Yeah,
because you always get a bad decision. You always get a good decision, don't you? So
themselves off every season for everybody.
Do we need all this technology in the game, though? Listen, we're talking about the game of football, the beautiful game, right? The beautiful game. And now we're putting computers and TV screens in control of it.
Where does it
Come
end?
on.
Where does it end, Nicky?
I mean, I'm one of the ones that's in favour of it, though, if I'm honest. It's not being used properly at all, but I think back to Lebo, you're going through in the cup final, Andrew Johnson in Cardiff. The amount of times that we've been robbed, where if we'd have had it, we'd have got the right outcome, I mean, do you remember David and Gog as well at Liverpool?
Oh, yeah, the penalty,
Yeah. I mean, there's three I've said off the top of my head. There must be more.
But Paul, there's also going to be instances, Paul, where we've come on the right side of a bad decision, so to speak.
I don't know. Against the bigger clubs in the Premier League, I'm not sure about that. And in the cup final against Liverpool and Arsenal, them big games that we played in my time
was a joke. That Liverpool one wasn't a joke.
That was
a joke of a decision. David Ellery should have been shot for that one.
Yeah, and it's a good job. It's a good job we beat. It's a good job we beat Arsenal because we'd been moaning about that as well when Bowyer went through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that was a clear,
straight red card.
That was a red card, and that should have gone. Anyway, listen, it's 20:45, and what we haven't done for a very long time is the last 15 minutes. However, we did have a little bit of fun today on the Tilton Talk private chat page, and Chris has got something about he might have to leave the show for a couple of 3 minutes tonight because
you never notice I was so quick
or something. Tonight for the last 15 minutes, is anything to do with football, anything to do with football, not just footballers, but football as a general, and furniture. There's your challenge. Now, we had a little bit of a go on this, and I couldn't keep up because I was working this afternoon, so I couldn't keep up with all the messages, but I just typed "I'm crying" because some of the things that these guys come up with this afternoon, were proper comical. So anything to do with football and furniture, off you go.
Okay. Before we go to that, Stephen Gill says, Richard, did you ever get to meet the late Chucho? What was he like?
Not one-to-one. No. I was around the club when he was there, but I couldn't really have a comment on him. But God rest him. God rest his soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, they've started.
Do you remember, Chris? Sorry, Chris. Do you remember that the night that news broke? We played our opening tune. We changed it from the We Are Lads from the Tilton to "Time to Say Goodbye."
I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Very emotional. Very emotional night, that one.
Yeah. Awful.
Chucho Benitez.
Okay, so it started. Peter Couch. Shays Long Adams.
Peter Couch.
This is the better one. Shays Long Adams.
I'm dying.
Troy Beanie.
Oh.
Lee Couch. Lee Couch.
This afternoon was funny.
I think the best one I came up with was Alessandro Nesta Tables.
That was good.
Good.
That's a great one. Here's another one. Christian Pedestal.
That's a good
Mark
one.
Wardrobe.
Sideboard members.
Richard, who was the funniest player you've ever coached?
Oh my God, there's been loads of them. The funniest player I've ever coached. Paul Caddis is an absolute card. Caddy, he doesn't drink.
Yeah.
But
Sorry. Christian Pedestal.
I would have said that one, yeah.
That's delayed reaction.
Sorry, this doesn't speak.
We've,
Every time we do this, it's absolutely cracks me
we've
up.
El
Christian
Hadji
pedestal.
Poof. El Hadji Poof. Not you. There you go.
Oh dear.
Probably Paul Caddis. Great, dry sense of humour.
Yeah.
Good guy. And obviously in blues folklore, which is fantastic. Yeah, Caddy, always cracking jokes, always doing little tricks and different things. But over the years, there's been loads.
What about Benno? Did you ever meet Benno?
Benno, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, he's on next week, he is. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was meant to be on tonight. I'm sorry to everyone who was expecting Benno tonight. You got me. But Benno coached Nottingham Forest, so I come across Benno quite a lot. And funny.
Gone up to Middlesbrough now, isn't he? He's gone to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, he's left, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gone to Middlesbrough, yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, right.
Over the weekend, yeah.
Oh.
What did you do after we won at Bolton and stayed up? What happened then? Talk us through the celebrations.
Oh, brilliant. So in the change room, champagne, everyone's going mad. Absolutely brilliant. And I remember on the coach coming back.
I'm so sorry, Richard. Can I just? Why would you take champagne to a game where we're potentially going to get relegated?
No, we didn't take it. We're in the change room, and people
All right,
came.
that's okay.
and bought
Cool.
that.
Off you go. Carry on. Crack on.
So I remember.
Somebody nipped to Tesco's to get something there.
Yeah. Do you remember those pictures of the kit man? There actually was.
The kitman in the off license, getting all the beers.
That's it. So unbelievable scenes in the changing room, you know, because we were dead and buried, weren't we? What a way to do it.
Yeah.
And then on the coach on the way back, everyone was just getting steaming. And again, I hope you don't mind me saying it, Jonathan Spector was reading a book. I always remember that because everyone was partying and going mad and Spector was reading a book. We get back anyway. We get back to the training ground and we go to. I was in Lee. I think I can't remember who drove Lee Clark's car. I'm sure it was someone that was sober. But park up at Morton's, and then I went go in there because everyone's coming in there. So Lee Clark's gone to go into Morton's. Bearing in mind, all the fans and players are coming in. The bouncer said, "Sorry, mate, not tonight."
Oh God.
So fortunately, I knew the bouncer. I went up to him and said, "It's the Blues manager, like all the fans." So we went in there for a little bit. Lee went off. He had a family thing, but I remember that night, literally dancing on the bar, and everyone was singing "We Don't Care About Carson" and all that type of stuff. And I remember just then ended up.
Well, my experience for that day, right? I was so downbeat. The fact that here we are, last game of the season, and we're potentially facing yet another relegation, right? I slept in. I turned my phone off. I turned the alarms off. The TV was off. No radio was on. And I got up after the game had finished, and I then put the TV on. And my son Luke rings me. He said, "Dad, did you hear the score?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh," and then he went through the game about who'd scored, and he said, and then in the 93rd minute, Paul Gaddis, he said, "We're back in this division." And I, you know something? I sat in this chair just here, yeah, and
He's only got one.
Sharon's grandchildren were in the room, and I cried like a baby.
Again?
Yeah. And she looked at me. What would she be, 15? Looked at me. She looked at me, and I said, "Bab, this is football."
The goose pimple's coming now. He's talking about that. Fantastic.
This is
Brilliant.
football.
Yeah.
You know when Lee ran into the crowd?
Oh, mate, what a moment.
So he ran into the crowd with all that passion. Someone tried to nick his watch.
What the Blues?
That's Blues fans.
Someone tried to nick his watch. I never remember.
That could only be our supporters.
That's restored my faith in Blues fans.
They're all hugging him, but someone's trying to take his watch.
Okay.
Have you got any mementos, Richard, from your Blues days? Have you got any shirts or anything?
I've got loads of stuff, yeah. Plenty of stuff in the garage. I could go and dig out.
You got anything though, Richard, that we could use for our chosen charity this year?
I'm sure I could definitely dig something out, and I'd happily give that.
Is it a watch?
What we're doing this year is
I like it.
Is for PTSD, soldiers with PTSD, and we've done an amazing amount of work already. Raised in the region of maybe 3,000 quid at the moment, and of course we'd like to up that. And obviously with COVID going on, we had a big program of what was going to happen, but unfortunately we've had to put it all on hold. We're about to resurge it this next week.
Yep,
Okay, not this week now. Now that the pubs are kind of getting back to a little bit of normality. Sarah's going to have her hair dyed royal blue. She's raised over 800 quid for that already. That's all safe. It's in our safe. The PTSD charity know all about it. They know about every penny. But what we'd like to do, obviously, is get some more.
Yeah. I've got a couple of shirts that I happily donate. What a fantastic
Superb.
cause. Yeah.
You ain't got that Blues Nose costume, have you?
Yeah. I tell you what, if you want to get £5, that'll fetch £5. That one. Yeah.
We've actually
What,
got
that blue nose costume?
Maybe it wouldn't even fetch that, would it?
I'd pay a tenner for it, easy. Easy, straight off, mate.
Yeah.
Is it still around,
It's got to be somewhere, isn't it? It's got to be somewhere.
It's got to be somewhere.
I like this one off
Try and
Pete.
find it.
I like this one off Pete Taylor. Viv Solomon Ottoman.
I quite like Ober Sophie Martins.
Okay, let's read some of these out. My computer's hanging, Paul, so I don't know whether you
Do
can...
you want me to do it?
Yeah, go for it.
Frank Lampshade.
Oh!
Jimmy Bookcase. Alex Furrug's son. Alex Ferguson. Viv Solomon Ottoman, which we've just done. Nicky Butler. Oh, God, can't say that.
You just did.
Oh, God. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm not. Mattress Letizia. That's a good one.
Lots of few we had earlier. IKEA Cassius was a good one as well.
Thanks for slipping that one in. Oh, God, I've done it.
Mattress Letitia.
I like that one.
Now that's a good one.
So you're a week ahead of you now, Richard. Are you back in training now tomorrow every day?
Yeah, we're back in. Yeah, the lads are working very hard. It's pre-season, so it's a big physical element to the session. But we're diving straight in with the tactical work as well, trying to get ahead on that. So yeah, we're in tomorrow at Studley, early doors. Tom Ross is coming over actually to pay a visit to
Friend of the show.
Good old.
say hello. Yeah, great guy. Tom.
Legend.
Give him our regards when you see him.
Oh, will do.
That drive home, that drive home, obviously before lockdown, that drive home after the game is just not the same, is it, without Tom's voice on that radio?
No.
Absolutely right. Absolutely
It's like watching Planet Earth, if you can imagine, without David Attenborough's voice.
right. Yeah.
Do you know what it is to me, Paul? It's like the Queen's speech on Christmas Day to me, dear boy.
Yeah. Some things are just never the same again, are they?
No. I just hope football's the same when we get back.
Oh, it'll be that first game back, mate. He's going to be unbelievable. I reckon we'll sell out.
There's a program on TV, and it looks back at old games from the 60s, the 70s, 80s.
Well, the big match, Nick.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Thank you.
ITV4,
Right.
yeah.
And Blues were on it the other night playing
Yes.
Derby.
Yeah.
We
I
beat them
watched that.
3-2. And Hugh Johns, right? Hugh Johns was commentating on that game, and I remember him as like a 5-year-old child. Hugh Johns on a Sunday afternoon on Star Soccer, and it was brilliant. Again, an iconic voice.
Another,
And
just
Tom's
very
got
quick.
an absolute iconic voice as well.
Sorry, Nick. Just very quickly as well. We've recently promoted as well Mike Johns within Mike Dodds. Sorry, not Johns. Mike Dodds within the Academy to Head of Professional Development. Have you worked with him before, Richard?
Yeah, he was there when I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work. I used to work with Mike's mum, Wendy. She's a lovely lady. But I remember a few years ago, Mike used to get some of the tops for me off the training ground. So I owe him for that.
There you go.
Nick,
There you go.
Nick, just going back to that game, Nick, when we beat Derby, that was the season Derby went on to win the champion.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
Really?
they were they won the.
I mean, listen, you know what, Chris? When we was
First
watching
division
it, and the names that were coming out, Kenny Ibbett, Trevor Francis, Kenny Burns, and you know what? Oh, man. I was
Great
at that
team
game.
there,
I was probably at that game because it was 1974. I started going in 1973, way before Richard was born, might I say, ladies and gentlemen.
Allington, Kevin Hector. Oh, there were some great players on the Derby side. That was a great team. That
So head of professional development then, what role's that? What's that involved, do you know?
I saw the story. So I think Dodgy's role is going to be now sort of overseeing the under 16 groups, the under 23 group. So there's lots of jobs now to get created in academies. I just wish him all the best in that role. Dodgy is a nice guy. So good luck to him. But yeah, I suppose that would be overseeing those age groups. Obviously, each of those age groups would have a coach. He would go in and help the coaches and support where necessary, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's a new role. I haven't heard of that one before.
No, okay. Yeah. And do you think Craig Gardner will go on and be a good coach as well?
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Obviously, another guy's got a lot to offer.
Passion.
Lots of passion. Yeah, good guy. Obviously, big Blues fan as well, which is always nice to keep that connection, isn't it? I think it's important. I really do. You know, a few of the people that are fans have come away from the club over the last few years, unfortunately. Too many, really, in my opinion. But hopefully, Craig can keep that connection going, and I'm sure Craig will want to become a good coach.
Did you get to many games yourself, Richard, last year? Did you get to see Blues, in the flesh?
I saw quite a few on telly. Well, obviously, any time they're on telly, I watched them, and a few of the streams and things like that. But I was always coaching, so it often clash.
We understand that it's difficult, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's a job.
I always watch as many as I can. And to be fair, I do try and go down. John, do you know John White? John, big Blues fan. He's got a couple of seats. He always lets me have his seat. If
as for me, I'd walk 1,000 miles over broken glass in a red hot desert just to hear that whistle.
Yeah,
we're off.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
Can't wait for that.
It's only Coke.
Well, there's talks of them. There's talks of trials, isn't there, with like less fans in October time was talked about, but whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know.
Well, funny you should say that, Paul. I'm just wondering how they're going to do for like us, lucky enough to have a season ticket, but it's going to be like a lottery every week, isn't it? How are they going to do it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What is at the minute. We've all got right, and you all know that I work in pubs, and it's a very difficult environment to work in. We've just got to stick with the guidelines, right? Just be grateful, right? Okay, that we're not like that wonderful gentleman who spent 59 days in intensive care.
Yeah.
It was a fan with COVID. Yeah, and think about others as well as yourself, because that to me is the most important thing. And I've seen some crazy incidents in and around the pubs. One-way system. So somebody decides to walk out the door backwards. What an idiot! Why? When we're trying our best, number one, to keep you safe, number two, to keep me safe, and number three, to keep the businesses open. Just stick to the guidelines, right? We will get back to some kind of normality eventually. And if that takes another year, 18 months, 2 years, well, hey-ho, so be it. You know what? Because I'd rather be alive than be an idiot.
Yeah. I'd rather be alive than dead. Are
you not dead yet?
I just prefer it. It's one of them things.
You're not dead yet. Nobody's come to collect your sofa tonight.
They have, yes.
Mate.
They have.
Oh,
They have, yeah. I'm really clever.
I didn't think it's sneak out.
No. I just put a cardboard cutout here, right, with my beautiful head on it, and you never noticed.
Ouch. What, you printed it?
Yeah, you never noticed.
He's probably been around.
Ladies and gents, girls and boys, wow, it's 9 o'clock already. What can I say?
God blimey.
Somebody's questioned earlier, is this season 10 or season 11?
It's actually season 10.
Ah.
It's not, it's season 10. This is season 10.
But we've been going for 11 years, haven't we?
We're in our 10th year. We're still in our 10th year. We'll be in our 11th year next year. Kids.
I don't understand.
Can't teach them anything.
Monday night math.
Okay, so tonight's opening notes then said season 11. We're going to have to change that and edit it to go for season 10.
Yeah.
I just probably feel a year older than I really do, Chris, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I can't believe, Chris Brown, that I've now known you for a sixth of my life, nearly. Over. And that first ever one we did with them plastic microphones and one table and the wonky chair and your cat that used to rip me legs to bits. And now we're on Zoom, and you know what we can get? We can get special guests in and they don't have to travel. Yeah, great that they put themselves out for an hour and a half. Absolutely superb. But you know what? I think this is going to be the season to remember, to be honest with you. Right? Certainly within the Tilton Talk. I'm hoping and praying that it's a season to be remembered at St Andrews as well. Well, thanks to Boyle Sports, our principal sponsors of Birmingham City Football Club, and of course our sponsors too, and SAS Autos, and our friends at where? Bordesley Labour Club, of course.
Yes. I'm glad you're on the ball.
Richard, it's been an absolute joy to have you in tonight, mate. It's been a great insight into what your time was like at Blues and what you're doing now and what we're going to have. We wish you all the very best for the future.
Yeah.
That's absolutely genuinely meant, and please get in touch with Lee, right? Bless you. I really appreciate that. And you know what? That would be for me. And do you know why? Because for me, I genuinely think he wasn't a bad bloke. He weren't a bad bloke. He weren't a bad bloke.
I can promise you, he's a really.
And he wasn't a bad manager.
No.
And I just think he didn't have the resources, the time, and everything else. But listen, like Birmingham City Football Club, come on now, look, we have an opportunity with Mr. Karanka to now move our club forward at last. Back off, lay off, leave him to do the job, give him the resources he needs, back him, and we will back you. 100% we will back you. 100%, even in this COVID horrible times. But listen, and please take this on board. And I know that many people do listen from the club. Listen to the fans. Paul.
Absolutely, just echo everything you just said. And we it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But if he is given time and it is the way he wants it to be, then
absolutely. Mark, your closing comments.
Who knows? In the next 2 to 3 seasons, we could be in the Champions League.
Well, you never know. I did say about 6 years ago, in 6 years' time, we would be in the top of the Premier League. And I said that I had 20/20 vision. Mark, your closing
being in the Premier League. I'll settle just for being in the Premier League. Need to forget the Champions League.
I'm pretty much the same. I think it's a really good positive step. Let's hope we keep him a bit longer than he stayed at Forest, because they were sort of in a similar sort of boat. But I'm well chuffed, to be honest. I think it's really good.
Chris Brown?
Sorry? My closing thoughts?
Your closing thoughts.
Yes, everybody just keep right blooming on.
Absolutely. Richard Beale, thank you so very much for being with us
Cheers,
tonight.
John.
God bless you. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you
Thank
giving
you.
your own personal time up and get in touch with Lee, because I think that's one that we would savour. And that moment when he ran up to that crowd and went, "That was for you, it was for you, it was for you," and then jumped in, and then, as I didn't know, nearly had his wife stolen. Great story.
Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Richard, bless you, mate. And listen, all the best in your career, my friend. All the best in your career. Mrs. Brown, good night.
Good night.
Mark Adams, good night.
Good night, everyone.
And Mr. Hipkiss.
Good night, all. Keep right on.
Richard.
Keep
Bye, everybody. Cheers. Thank
And
you.
for myself, keep right on. Keep the faith. But Birmingham City, leave this man to do his job. End. Good night.
We have a